Hey there, folks. Let's do today's daily target on CSSBattle.dev. A rather interesting one. It's got some great shapes in it. I don't know what the shape is exactly. I don't think. I think we've got two elements that are very similar, but not the same, with probably the same background in different positions or with a variable. So what's that look like? We're going to make a paragraph element and put red on the background. Put the margins on the paragraph element. It's gonna, so we'll take a stab. We'll take a first draft, and we'll do a conic gradient. And I won't bother with an at. I think it's roughly in the middle, but it might not be. But it's from 135 degrees, right? So what I'm looking at is the top of a gradient comes around, and then is this dark blue. So this would be at 0. This would be at 90, and then this would be, well, I think, 45 degrees. 90 plus 45 is 135 degrees. So we do that, and then we give it the blue. And instead of, I could say 90 degrees, or I could say what, 0.25 turn, I think. It's another. There are other angular measures. Don't limit yourself to degrees. You can use radians. There's other things, but regardless, we're going to do 25%. And then light blue. So that's what that looks like. So it needs to be a little wider, and it needs to be in a slightly different position. So I'm going to give it a 0 or 0 top margin. And actually, I think I need -8 to overcome the body. 3, 4, 5. And then I can do a bottom margin of just 0. Because the next element, so I'm going to do a second one, which is slightly different, but similar. Let's make it taller. 2, 3, 4, 1, 5. It's an even 150, isn't it? I think. All right. So how do we get the weird parts of the shape? To me, this looks like an obvious clip path. We'll see if that's the right approach. So that's a polygon. There are other choices. We could also do a covering gradient. But I'm going to do a clip path, and we'll go to what? 25% maybe? 0 or 0. Oh, yeah, 25% 0. 75% 0. That's my first 2 points along the top. And then the middle right would be 100%, 50%. So that's, you can kind of see that forming. And then 75%, 100%. That's how you get that piece. And then let's try 20. This is a guess. If these numbers are wrong, we do something else. 100%. And then we do 0, 50%. And that's how you kind of get those shapes. So it's close. And I think so now here's where what are the difference between the top and bottom ones? I think the bottom one is taller, right? We're not at exactly the halfway point, I think, but I could be wrong. Height 155. And then, so here's where the margins get weird. So I'm going to zero out the margins of the body. So I'm just going to do 0, 50. And maybe that's easier and simpler. and make this 140. Okay, and then I'm going to narrow these margins to 55, 56, 57, 58. Notice how close that is without being totally right. How about 61, 60? So, again, close but not quite. Also, now we're learning that the bottom, these points are a little bit different. I think what this is saying to me is that the clip path may not be our best bet. Because we're already going to have to change up the X positions of 1, 2, 3, 4 points at least. So I'm going to focus on the blue parts, and then we'll do the red parts last, and get that going. Okay. So now, so the from on this guy then. So let's make this the variable. So the f dash dash f or 135 degrees, and then the from on the second one is, well, it's 180. No, it's, what is it? It's, well, it's from minus 45 degrees. Yeah? All right. And then the at value. It's also got an at value. So I ignored the at value. At, I'm going to get a var dash dash a of an at value. And that at value I'm going to make 50%. 50%. Yeah. And then the at value on the second one is different. Dash dash a is 50%, 51, 53%, let's call it. We just got to choose some number. 53, 55, 56, 57. All right, so we have two symmetrical items. So what next? I think we need a covering conic gradient. And it's it's a what does it look like? I'm also going to do from minus 45 degrees, and I'm going to do red 25 25%, transparent 0 50%, and then the red again 0 75%, and then like that, and then I need to put that at 0 over 2, 3, 4, like that. And that's close. It's not right, but it's close. Yeah, this is definitely a fun and interesting puzzle, is it not? Yes, it is. For the second one, does it have a different center? Yes, I think it does. From. So that at value, right now we don't have an at value there. At var, we'll do B for the second at value. Dash dash B, and I think it is 50%, and then the vertical 60%. Is it 57? So it's the same. Is it the same? That's the question. In which case we want to set, well, I don't think that's a good bet. I'm not going to make that bet yet. Two different variables. And I actually am not super excited about using percentages anyway. 90, because they have different heights, don't they? Yeah, there we go. So 91 pixels for the bottom one. Is that also 91 pixels? So close. Ooh, so close. So I'm removing the margin from the body. Probably a bad idea. And indeed, I've screwed up everything right now. Ugh. I hate all those changes. Undo, 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 undo. All right. Where do we stand? Let's see where we are. We've got a lot of pieces that are not too bad. We got some pieces that are really bad. And conic gradients can have side effects that may be working against us here. Let's submit this and see what our current match is. I think it's bad, but let's just verify if that's true. 99.5%. Not so hot. So what do we need to do to bring this in line? You can see it. You can see how kind of wrong it is. And it's time to consider whether we've got, just bad approaches that aren't going to work. Not bad as such, but they're not covering these edges the way I really would want them to. So the question is, what can we do about that? Can we simplify this a little bit? Right now we're relying on these conic gradients that are zigzagging in different ways. What if we made this 4 elements instead? Let's do that. I kind of like this idea. Let's make it 4 elements. So we got a P, B, and a C. And we're not going to bother with these conic gradients. Instead, we're going to stick with what we had, a center-oriented gradient, or indeed at 50% 0 gradient. Yeah, I like that idea. And each one is 100 tall. And I'm going to say P plus P, display none. Okay, so let's just make one at a time. So what I want to make is each slice of this, let's call it a cake. So the first slice is 50, not 5, 60, 70. So I'm going to make the first slice. And do it at 0. So I'm using the same gradient for each one. Yeah, the same for each one. And what am I going to do next? I'm going to make a click path. Polygon. I'm also going to do a scale of a var of an S or 1. Okay. So for the first one, we want what? We want, well, like what I said, 25%. I don't know if that's right, but we'll find out. 75%, 0, 100%, 100%, 0, 100%. So that creates that. Now, can I narrow that down and get that better? 55, 56, 57, 58, 57, 56, 57, 58. So with those margins, that matches pretty well. And I'm going to make this a decimal. $24.5. That makes this 75.5. Okay, so that matches pretty well. Let's make the second one. So the scale on this is going to be -1. And I'm going to get rid of this display none that I've got for all these guys. C and D. So D has also got a scale of -1. Fun how things sort of slot into place, but sort of don't. Like this is close, but not super close. And let's make this a variable. Let's do a variable with the points. So O for offset, we're going to say 24.5%. No, 20. No, I said 24, but I wrote 25. 24.5%. And we're going to say var --O. And this, we're going to do a calc. I don't very often do a calc. 100% minus var --O. And that matches, so the top one matches pretty well. So B well, and then if I make it taller, is it better? No, it doesn't make it better. And then for C, that offset is a little further over, isn't it? 60, 70, 80, 90. And then the height, which I haven't made a variable, of 90. It's getting closer. Getting closer. I think I need to change the from of the second and third one. That's B and C. So the --F is from 135. No, that's the opposite of what I want. What do I want? This is where I've turned myself around, right? Like, oh, how do I do this? So I'm altering it, but not in any way. So the origin actually has to be at the top, and because I flipped it upside down, that means I need to change this var. And do I have an A? I don't right now. So the A is 50%, 100%. And so then the from, if I do 0, That's interesting. Where I got that? Minus 45. There it is. 45. So, yeah. And that's better. We'll take that. And then for C, is from minus 45 degrees. No, 45 degrees. No, 135 degrees. We just keep trying. Oh, and the at needs to be at 50% 0? No, 50% 100%. Where does it need to be? I don't even know at this point. No, it needs 50% 0. To 35? No. Oh, I've lost track. This is funny. I really have lost track. To 3. So what is it? 310, 20, 315. Of course, I knew it was 315 all along. We've still got some of the problems that we were seeing in terms of the diff, but this seems like a better approach than what I had going, and easier to manage than the clip paths. Let's see if it's at 100%. It might not be. It's probably not. 99.8% match. Okay. So, what do we need to do to change these? Right now, we've got these margins. A var of a margin of 58. So, if I change the margins of B and C, what happens? It gets slightly better. 59. And if I change the height, oh, I don't have a variable for height. What if I change the height? So height, I'm going to say close. Closer. Yeah, that's no good. So I'm going to set the margins on the second one as well. Or C. Yeah. All right, let's submit that. .9% match. Now, one question is, will I be satisfied with that? Now I also need to change the offset. Right now I've got this offset, 2 different offsets. So B and C. Right now I've got 191, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90. I'm going to do the same offset up there. 60, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70. That's pretty clean along the edges, along the outer edges. 99.9%. Okay. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of wonkiness around the origin, so that at value might be a problem. So I think it's going to be this number. Okay, so I'm changing the at value there, and I'm going to do the same thing here, 71 pixels. No. 50, 70, 80, 90, 91. Let's try that. That's looking better. 99.9%. We might have a stuck at 99% one here. Don't really like that. I really don't like that. Okay, but what can we do? So C has a little bit of an edge problem. And we have a little bit of diff along the edge that's a problem. So that's about the from angle. What if I do that? What if I do 90 degrees instead of 25%? It shouldn't make a difference, but sometimes. Oh, and that's not the edge that's got the problem. So that's interesting. If that's the case, if it's at, okay, I'm going to add another color stop of the same additional color and go to 359 degrees just so I can see it. 59.9 degrees, just because I really want to see that issue. 9. Not something I've done before, but it feels intuitively correct, and maybe is a way to get rid of the jagginess there. Or I'm stuck. We've already gone, I don't know how many minutes I've gone recording-wise, but this is already a long video. What else can I do? 99.9 is where I'm stuck. I think the shapes are good. So if the conic gradient is the problem, let's do blue as the color, or let's do the dark blue as the color. Yeah, dark blue is the color. So there's what that looks like. So if I do 2 linear gradients, 45 degree light blue with an extent 30 pixels, transparent, right? And then another one that's the opposite edge. Would that be minus 45? And then I make that a var. Dash E for extent, and I'll say 30 pixels to start. And I'll make that a var. Var E in both of them. Okay. That gives some of what I'm thinking of. So if that extent, so right now we've got what? Froms that are garbage. Well, they're not. I'm not using them anymore. And ats that I'm not using anymore. So F's and O's I'm not using. So I need to, so if that extent, so I'm going to copy that into B and C. This is a pretty elaborate one. This is, so, and then make that 200 for that one. Close. I'm going to submit that and see our number. It's like 99.8 or 99.7. 99.9. Okay, great. So for B, it needs to be a little bit more. So that's this guy. Or a little less, 98, 99, there we go. And then this one is a little more. No, even less, 95, 6, 97, 97, 98, 99, 100, 98, 0.1, 0.5, 0.6, 7. All right. Let's submit that one. I think we're there. Maybe. Always hard when you get to 99.9%. Yeah. There's no guarantees. There's no longer any guarantees. So the edges I'm seeing are up here, I guess. Oh, I still got. Pretty brutal. Okay, so the first one. This clip path is the next issue. Let's do that. 50, 60, 70. Let's try that. Rather than using percentages. That's 100% match. Okay, so I don't know if we learned anything. That's a fun, complex, difficult puzzle. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And there, my minification. The code is complex enough that minification clobbers some of this code. But let's not let that happen. Probably it's where zeros and 100% and probably somewhere where the calc is. So I'm going to do the minify, and then I got to fix it. Right? Oh, it's the polygon is not working. Var calc. Okay, so here it's the so that there's your lesson in how calc works. Calc demands a space on either side, and that was the only issue there. Unit replace. Somebody asked me yesterday in the comments. I apologize for not remembering your name. What does unit replace do? Unit replace turns a value like, in this case, 200 pixels into 50 VW. That's just an example. And it's not the best algorithm, right? It's not the shortest algorithm. VW units are not the shortest. Qs and percentages probably are the smallest. And then you get into values that are very large to just be, to fill things like 1 inch IN. 1 IN is also very, very short and big, or 4 in, or 9 in, right? Like you just would cover everything with that. But for pixel values, it cuts down on a little bit of the code. That's a fun one. Hope you enjoyed this video. Go make a web page. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other, and be cool out there, because it's a rough time. All right, get out of here. Go make that web page. Bye.